the 5 worst things that you can do with a narcissist. Number 1, think that you can manipulate a narcissist successfully. I repeatedly see people protesting that or declaring that they have kicked the narcissist's ass and successfully manipulated them. You haven't. Sometimes people believe this in an honest way because they don't understand narcissism and they've been misled by their emotional thinking. Sometimes it's because this is a narcissist who is unaware, thinking that they've manipulated another narcissist and they actually have not. It's the grandiosity and their need for control causing them to believe that this is the case. Where you're an empath, you're not designed to manipulate people on an habitual basis. You're not very good at it. You don't need to be. It's not part of your arsenal. We are designed to manipulate, and we have to do it habitually. Most of our kind do so in an unaware way. Some of us do it in a calculated and conscious way, fully aware of what we're doing. But for you to think that you can manipulate the narcissist successfully is as a consequence of emotional thinking. The fact is, you can never guarantee a successful outcome because we are designed to reject and nullify any threat to our control. So it stands to reason, if you are trying to manipulate us, that means you are threatening our control, which then means we must respond by rejecting that threat to control. That is what happens. That is the way that we are designed to respond. Therefore, as a principle, where you try to manipulate us and it threatens our control, we reject it. The instances where something occurs which you wanted to happen, you can be misled into thinking that you successfully manipulated the narcissist. You didn't. Remembering what I've just told you about how we are designed to reject control, it stands to reason, therefore, that if the outcome has occurred, it is because we wanted it to. If you get something out of the narcissist that you wanted, it's only because the narcissist wanted it to be granted to you in the first place. If you believe that manipulating a narcissist is about, for instance, getting the narcissist to ignite their fury, and so that you ignore the narcissist and manipulate them into doing that, well, that isn't a successful manipulation. Yes, you've caused the ignition of fury, but guess what? You'll have invariably provided fuel to the narcissist, which is what we want. You will suffer a downside, because the narcissist will lash out against you, and you're disobeying the rule of no contact, and you're interacting with the narcissist, so you heighten your emotional thinking. So whilst you might think that it's very satisfying to have caused the narcissist to lose his shit, and find that entertaining and amusing, and I can certainly understand why you would, there are at least 3 downsides to it, and therefore that cannot be determined as a successful manipulation. You do not manipulate a manipulator successfully, nor should you attempt to do so. Number 2, thinking you can change the narcissist. The narcissist cannot change. It is as simple as that. And thinking that you can somehow achieve this is one of the worst things that you can do because it puts you on a fool's errand. It will cause you to continue to interact with the narcissist, and you will fail. Yes, particularly with a mid-range narcissist, you might get some short-term alteration in the behavior, which is merely a further manipulation against you, designed to stop you leaving the relationship, for instance, or to continue to assert control over you and draw on the prime aims. But if you try to change the narcissist, you are embarking upon something that is impossible, because narcissism cannot be cured, and I have explained elsewhere why that is. And all you're going to do is commit yourself to more misery. You will continue to interact with us, meaning you will provide us with fuel. We win, you lose. You will continue to suffer adverse consequences. We will abuse you. Whether it is beating you up, raping you, stealing your money, or ignoring you, not turning up on time, treating you like a second-class citizen, Whatever form of unpleasant behaviour it is, you will continue to experience it. You'll also become frustrated because the hoped-for change doesn't manifest. And thirdly, as always, as part of the devil's pitchfork, that emotional thinking continues to rise, and you then get stuck. You continue to interact by trying to change something that cannot be changed. This means you're continuing to interact with the narcissist, which means you continue to heighten your emotional thinking. You then don't see that what you're doing isn't in your best interests. What then occurs is you lose insight, and you continue to try and change us, meaning you continue to interact with us, meaning you continue to keep your emotional thinking high, which means that you don't use logic, which means you continue to try and change us. You continue to interact with us, which means you continue to keep your emotional thinking high, and so on and so forth. You are the one that has to change in terms of imposing no contact. You can't change who you are as a person, but you can change your behaviours with regard to your involvement with the narcissist, and this is something that you must do. Number 3, expect the narcissist to understand your perspective. There will be occasions, if it suits the narcissist's need for control, etc., that your point of view could be understood, but ultimately your perspective is not. This is because you look at the world through the empathic perspective. Your behaviours and decisions are governed by the presence of emotional empathy. We are governed by the need for control. There is no emotional empathy. These are two differing perspectives. And therefore, one of the worst things that you can try and do is keep trying to persuade the narcissist that you are right about what you are saying. From your perspective, you absolutely are, and the evidence from your perspective confirms that. But when it is viewed by the narcissist, the narcissism operates to obscure it, to cause the evidence to be looked at this way. That witness statement is from a liar. That police report is from a bent cop. That video footage is faked. In your world, the witness statement supports you. The police report is exact and correct, and the video evidence demonstrates that you are not in the wrong. But as soon as it's looked at through that filter of the narcissist perspective, it takes on a differing perspective which is designed to prevent that narcissist from being held to account, and thus to reject and nullify the threat to control. Expecting the narcissist to suddenly recognize the weight of your evidence against them is pointless. You need a judge to make that determination. The narcissist is incapable of seeing it that way because the narcissism won't let him. He won't see it from the perspective that you do. This is why you end up in a position of becoming infuriated and how you can't understand why the individual can't see that they're going to lose the court case, why they won't give up. It is because the narcissistic perspective won't let them see it that way. The unaware narcissist doesn't sit there and think, I know all the evidence is against me, but I'm going to carry on with this court case because, hey, I'm an arsehole. No, he genuinely believes you're wrong and he is right. And therefore, he is incapable of understanding your perspective. He might note it, he might recognize it, but he certainly won't understand it because his narcissism won't let him. Number 4. Thinking you can manage the narcissist successfully. You don't need to do this. There is always an opportunity to impose no contact or almost total no contact, and for you to withdraw and alter behaviours so that your interaction is either none whatsoever, the counsel of perfection with regard to the narcissist, or in certain other instances at the very, very minimum. You don't have to go into bat with the narcissist to try and manage them. So in, say, an office situation, you have a co-worker who's a narcissist who causes you problems. You could go total no contact, leave and go and get another job. Or, if for whatever reason you won't do that, you could transfer to a different department. See if the co-worker could be transferred to a different department, change the reporting lines, change the projects that you work upon, alter the lines of communication so that you don't see each other. You avoid getting involved in conversations in the office with them, at the water cooler. You communicate through email with them. You withdraw from having involvement with them to a point of near total no contact. What you don't do is keep interacting with them thinking that somehow you can deal with the narcissist by always being complimentary, that you understand that you're dealing with a narcissist, so you're always going to be able to think, well, what they want is fuel, so if I keep providing it, everything will be okay. All you'll end up doing is becoming disappointed, upset, frustrated. Yes, you'll end up giving us fuel, which is what we want, so we win. You will then also end up with the problem whereby you will suffer that adverse consequence. Despite all of your sunny disposition and attempts to provide us with positive fuel, you will do something which threatens the narcissist's control. It is inevitable, and you can't second guess it. And so the narcissist will lash out at you. And you are unnecessarily involving yourself with the narcissist, resulting in heightened emotional thinking and all of the problems that flow from that. So you can manage yourself to stay away from the narcissist, but you can't manage the narcissist because we can't be governed in that way. It goes back to the point about the fact that you can't manipulate us because we see it as a threat to control. If you try and manage us in some way, even if it's well-intentioned and pleasant, you're still threatening our control and it must be resisted. And all you're going to do is expose yourself to more problems. Finally, one of the worst things that you can do with the narcissist is tell the narcissist that they are wrong. You will provide us with challenge fuel. You will suffer a response from the narcissist. It might be flouncing away in a sulk, attacking you, verbally insulting you, triangulating you, explaining why you're wrong, launching into a tirade against you, possibly, if the narcissist wields the relevant power, disciplining you in some way, denying you a promotion, walking away from you, isolating you, ostracizing you. You don't tell a narcissist that they are wrong, because the narcissist will never ever agree with that, save where it suits their purposes, and for instance, a pity-playing mid-ranger. You, driven by your truth-seeking trait, want to tell us that we're wrong. You know that we're wrong. The evidence shows that we're wrong. It's about time that you're able to land a blow on us. Get us to understand that we're in the wrong. Remember, the unaware, lesser and mid-range narcissist will never be able to see that, and whilst the greater may understand that they could be viewed as being wrong, they will never accept it, because that would be the transference of power and must be rejected. All you will accomplish by telling the narcissist they are wrong is the provision of negative fuel, the suffering of an adverse consequence, and again, increased emotional thinking. You also run the risk that, dependent upon the circumstances where you state that the narcissist is wrong, you could find yourself receiving repeated malign hoovers by way of punishment for what you have done, which is an added problem arising from this misstep. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.